Hello everyone, my name is Richard Quinn and my group members are Ryan Trin and Paley Morales, and this is our group's presentation on Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation.
Abraham Lincoln ran for president in 1860. Previous to becoming president, Lincoln had other political ambitions. 6 months after he moved to New Salem, Lincoln announced his candidacy for the Illinois state legislature, and he ran as an independent candidate. However, he lost his campaign and didn't win support in the county. After his loss, the then president Andrew Jackson appointed him as postmaster of New Salem. After this, he tried to run for state legislature again in 1834, this time with the support of the Democrats. His strategy was to issue no platform, make no promises, and make few speeches. He ran in 1836, 1838, and 1840. He won every single time. However, Lincoln first gained national stature when he campaigned against Stephen Douglas of Illinois for a U.S. Senate seat in 1858. The senatorial campaign featured numerous heated debates on the issue of slavery, where Lincoln established his position on slavery as an abolitionist. He believed slavery was morally wrong, unlike most people at the time. However, he lost his campaign, but in turn, he brought national attention to the new Republican Party. He secured the Republican Party nomination for the November 1860 election. In this election, he secured the victory against Democratic nominee Stephen Douglas without any support from the Southern states. News of Lincoln's victory led to Southern states seceding, which caused the Civil War. So, what were Abraham Lincoln's effects on the Civil War, and what did he do? Well, at the time of his inauguration, on March 4th, 1861, 7 states had already succeeded and formed the Confederate States of America. Lincoln had decided to fight for the reunion of the states and not the issue of slavery. He believed that he needed to protect the Union at all costs. The war began with the Confederate attack on Fort Sumter in April 12, 1861. The North lost this battle. This showed Lincoln and the rest of the North that this war would not end short and swift. The loss revealed the reality of the situation, that the South could actually win. As the president, he had held the position of commander-in-chief of the U.S. military. His authority was used constantly. During the war, Lincoln found it difficult to identify a successful general. McDowell, Fremont, McClellan, Pope, then McClellan again, Buell, Burnside, Rosecrans were all fired and failed at making significant victories in the war. However, after a significant victory at the Battle of Antietam, on January 1st, 1863, Lincoln delivered his famed Emancipation Proclamation. This speech changed the whole meaning of the war, from fighting to protect the Union to a moral fight, one to end the inhumane practice of slavery. Then in 1864, Lincoln had to run for re-election. After 4 years of no significant progress, the possibility of Lincoln securing re-election seemed unlikely. However, Ulysses S. Grant, the new commander of the U.S. Army, had begun to secure a series of victories, helping to secure Lincoln's re-election. In his inauguration, Lincoln outlined his plan for after the war, which would be, and I quote, "with malice toward none and with charity for all." The war promptly ended 1 month later.
Abraham Lincoln was known as the 16th President of the United States, but before all of that began, he was born on February 12, 1809 to Nancy and Thomas Lincoln. He was a self-taught lawyer and was largely self-educated throughout his life. A few jobs he had had were working on a farm, splitting rails for fences, and keeping a store in New Salem. What inspired him to run for the presidency was Thomas Paine, who has been an influence on him since he was younger. As he became older, he became a lawyer by studying a large selection of legal cases and law books. By the age of 25, he got his law license. He did not have a degree but managed to continue as a lawyer because he passed the bar exam by judge, not by written examination. When the time came, he decided to run for presidency against Douglas. When he was the winner of the outcome, he tried his best to reach for peace and to abolish slavery since he found it morally wrong.
The Emancipation Proclamation was a speech written by Abraham Lincoln on January 1st, 1863. This proclamation became the basis of freedom for all slaves in the U.S. The proclamation stated that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforward shall be free. Abraham Lincoln wrote this proclamation because the South just suffered a major loss at the Battle of Antietam on September 17, 1862. He needed to improve his soldiers' morale, give them more hope, and somehow weaken the South. So what it does is this gave the North the higher moral ground and painted them as the good guys in the war, effectively silencing most opposition to their cause. This also took away some power from the South because the South was receiving supplies from Britain. Since Britain decreed that slavery was banned and abolished from their country, they couldn't support the South anymore, as it would seem like they were supporting slavery. This decree also gave African Americans in the South hope and revitalized their fighting spirit against their captors. It also revitalized the North and their reason for fighting. Black men were also now accepted into the military and Navy after the proclamation passed. This provided a huge personnel boost to the North's military and rebel groups in the South, giving the North a big advantage in the war, and it allowed them to make a comeback, changing the tides in their favor. To conclude, Abraham Lincoln was a key figure in the reunification of the North and South of the U.S. His Emancipation Proclamation was written to help him end the war in his favor, and it effectively freed all slaves within the USA. This also had major effects later on, as in January 31st, 1865, the 13th Amendment was passed by Congress, and in December 6, 1865, it was ratified. This officially abolished slavery in the United States of America. It was a huge step towards the establishment of a beautiful utopia where everyone could truly be equal.